This is, ooh, it's a little tacky. That shouldn't be tacky, but I'm gonna paint anyways. So if I mess it up, you'll see why you don't want it to be tacky. Hi, I'm Kevin Hill, and today we're going to do an acrylic painting, one with a light background and a dark tree. It should bring a lot of interest to the painting. I think it'll be fun. If you're looking forward to seeing this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more painting videos. All right, let's get started. We'll start off today here with our little flat blender, and I've got some white, a little blue, and let's see, I'm going to add just, I can't speak, it's a good day already. Add a little black to that. All right, and then how about a little red? Why use just one color when you can use all your colors? All right, now the other thing we need to do, take a mister bottle, mist the canvas, canvas palette, and I've also got a little bit of foundation medium just sitting here on the table. I'll dip into that every once in a while. All right. Now, I have no idea if you've noticed it or not. Do you see that painting in the background over there? Bet you're wondering why I've got that there. It's not exactly something that I paint, and it's because I didn't paint it. That is my son's first painting, and I'm so happy. Isn't that cool? So I thought, well, of course it's going in the video. So there it is in the video. Hope you enjoy seeing it. Of course, he painted that with the same acrylics we use. So if you haven't gone to the website and check them out, they're good for landscapes and modern art too. So hopefully you enjoy seeing it there. While we're waiting on the sky to dry, I'm going to just drop in some distant, misty, grassy land areas. Yep, that's what it is. Oh dear, this is a weird day already. Let's grab it's because it's another afternoon. I can't seem to stay away from the afternoon paintings. I like that little bit of blue that seems to be sneaking in there, and I like this little bit of red. I know it's a little funny right this moment, and that's okay. I just want the basic colors in there, and we'll worry about making it look better later, actually. This is kind of just a simple get it in for the sake of the overall kind of scene, just getting the colors blocked in. Worry about it later. That's gonna be fine. Okay. There we go. That's nice. Let's see, maybe just a little of that blue in here. See, just literally kind of mush it. This is acrylics, so I don't have any problem taking my finger and smooshing if we need to. No worries. It washes off so easily with water. I'm not worried about it. There. It's one of the advantages. Hey, you might as well take advantage of the advantages. Because, you know, oils blend easier, but acrylics, they sure do clean up easy, don't they? And they're easy to deal with. So, might as well use it and enjoy it. Oh, it's starting to get kind of nice, isn't it? Lots of different colors. I wasn't planning on adding so many colors because I'm just standing here talking to you, rambling on and on. There we go. Now here's a very important step. This sky is still just a bit wet, and I'm blending into that wet paint just a little bit of the leftovers of the land to create these little distant trees. If you don't do it right now, I don't have my palette in my hand because you don't really need any paint, just whatever's on the brush. If you don't do it right now, then you're going to have to do this once it's dry. You're going to have to dry brush blend, which is completely fine, but this is a little faster. Dry brush blending is a little slower. So I'm going to do it while it's wet. But if for some reason you think that you won't be able to get it done while it's wet, you know, just wait and dry brush blend it in. It won't be any harder. Just take you an extra 5 minutes. How's that? No big deal. But I love this. Hopefully this reads as subtle as I want it to. I want this to be like super subtle, to where you can barely see it. Ooh, a little red snuck in there, but we'll blend it in. Good. Good, good. Super subtle. And then if we can, maybe we'll just hit this transition right here and make that even more subtle. This is working really well. Maybe bring that up just a little on that right side. Good. The more paint you use here, the worse it's going to be. The only reason this is working is because it's like 1% paint and 99% brush. So we're trying to do as much as we can while the sky is drying. I put a lot of water, a lot of mist with the bottle out there, and that takes it a while. It makes it take a little longer to dry. So what we're doing while we wait is maybe getting in this little rolling hill, which goes down like that, something like that's fine. Oh, that's nice. I think if we would have primed the canvas with a color, some of that color would show through. It would be really pretty. We didn't take the time to do that today. Doesn't really matter, just didn't do it. So we're gonna need to make sure we cover the canvas. It kind of gives you an idea, you know, sometimes you want to do it, sometimes you don't. Doesn't really matter, but make sure you're covering that canvas. You don't want to see the white canvas holes show through. That's kind of unprofessional. So here I'm just using my finger to do a little blending. I just need to get that up and out. Put a little too much paint in my brush rather than wiping it out. I just use my finger. There. I'm actually going to leave a little of this grassy, bushy texture on top. We may make that look a little more like grass, but it's a good start. Very good start. I'm just all over the place with my colors today. That's nice. Isn't that fun? Yes, there we go. Good. Of course, this is only the underpainting. You got to think, well, you're going to highlight it, so you know, don't go too bright yet with the underpainting. You want your underpainting to have depth. You don't want it just flat one color, but you definitely don't want it too bright. There you go. Maybe a little more of the browns as we go down here toward the bottom. I said brown and I grabbed a green. There's some brown. Good. A little red kind of mushed in there. It's a simple painting today. Simple as in like less elements, but that means it's more complicated in color and in value and all that, because now you got to do everything right, because you can't hide behind a bunch of detail, because there's just a few things that your viewer is going to see. They got to count. So now I've got a nice soft gray color. Actually, it's a purple that's been grayed down just a little. I think that's nice. I don't know. It looks pretty good. We can always change it. We will be changing it. Now, my sky is dry. That's very important. So what we're going to do, we're going to come somewhere in this area. Somewhere in this area, and just begin to roll in basic cloud outline. Now, I've got my custom tapered round, and you know what? We don't want one dead color. Mix in a lot of colors. And while I was waiting, I've been misting my paints so they would stay wet. Otherwise, of course, you get dry canvas, dry paint, right? And so definitely don't want that. You want to be misting your paints and only squirt out. You notice I don't put out a lot. That's so that it doesn't dry on my palette. I wouldn't want that. There. Almost said dry on the canvas, you know. All right, that looks good. I'm concentrating. That's really pretty. So we're using the dry brush blending technique. Dry canvas, wet brush. I didn't come up with the name. It looks good though. You see, it creates that airbrushed effect with acrylics, even though the background is dry. That's the secret. That's the only secret to acrylic painting is dry brush blending. You can fix things that way, and you can create a wonderful effect. Our light is coming like this today. It's important that we figure that out now, because we're going to be highlighting, always constantly misting your paints as they start to dry out, especially your smaller piles dry out so fast. There, not too far down, because our trees are going to come up. That looks just about right. Good color, but it's not the only color we want to use. Let's get some more blue going. More blue, maybe a touch more black. Gray that down even more. Let's see. What is this going to do? Oh yeah, just change it up. That's good. Touch more black in there. We see it made a difference, didn't it? All right. You want fairly soft edges when you do this. Now, one caution. Once your hard edge is dry, that's it. It's really hard to get rid of them. Don't let your hard edges dry in your actual cloud on the canvas. You want this to be soft edge everywhere. You want to have soft edges everywhere. There. That's pretty. Hard to beat that. I mean, come on. That's really pretty. Acrylic skies can sometimes give me personally a little more of a challenge. This is going really easy. The colors are easy to work with. Now we've got a big tree, pretty much where my hand is, just left of center. Make this cloud important. These clouds are unimportant. A little bit of important clouds over here. I'm going to spend significantly less time over here. I really don't care, because it's not going to be seen very much. Why waste your valuable painting time on something that's not, it's not going to be seen. Don't do it. Yes, all right, we're just gonna sit here and have fun, and I'll get right back when there's something else to show you. Now I got a soft peach color, but it's mostly white. It's like 95% white, we'll say. A little bit of our yellow ochre light. All right, so now what we wanna do is try to kind of carve out some highlights. It's just one big, massive cloud shape, which is cool. It's a good way to start. But we gotta get some little ones going on in here. This is, ooh, it's a little tacky. That shouldn't be tacky, but I'm gonna paint anyways. So if I mess it up, you'll see why you don't want it to be tacky. But you know, hopefully we won't mess it up. I'm not planning to scrub too much right now. If you were planning to scrub on this, you know, like this, you wouldn't be doing it while it's tacky, right? There, that looks decent. Now, one time-saving tip is what you should do is you should grab another brush, have it standing by, and then you can just blend like this. So that's your time-saving tip for today. Nice. Go back to the other brush, lay on some more color. What's fun about acrylics is you can do this yellow against the blue, and you don't have to worry about it becoming green. It's just yellow and blue next to each other, which, when you're painting oils, is something that's not usually a very good idea. Sometimes works out, but not always. Just depends. This is more just the silver lining, trying to pick out the cloud shapes than it is anything else. Now, maybe right in here, let's go ahead and get a little more highlight. Your clouds are going to be different, you know, and this may not even be the last highlight. It just depends on how far we need to go. Probably do a lot of highlights, actually. The clouds are one of the features of the, wow, look how fast that dry, look at that. Little bits of acrylic paint dry fast, don't they? Man. Okay, go in half-inch sections, I guess. Put a little more paint down and blend. That is so funny. I think it's these hot lights. I have the lights closer. By the way, I changed the lights. Can you tell? It's a lot softer. Hopefully you're enjoying that. I actually ordered a new light, so you'll get to see that in the next probably week or two, however long it takes to get to me. But hopefully these investments are making the videos a little more clear and just a slight bit more enjoyable. Hopefully, you know, you get a new camera and all of a sudden the lights aren't good enough. There. Now we're just filling in a tree. Of course, as you can see here, I just sketched it out first and then you just paint in the lines. Very simple, but the reason you do that is it's very easy to kind of change it if you only sketch it. If you commit to doing more paint all at once, then, you know, you're quite a bit more locked in. So definitely sketch first, fill in second. I personally wouldn't do all of the branches with this brush. I would just get the big ones in. That's what I would do. Because then you can take the liner brush and bring all the little ones out. Make it, you know, it'll grow maybe a couple more inches out. Maybe not off the top of the canvas. I'm not too sure about that. We will see. Now, as far as going back and doing the rest of this, I'm getting a little blue here. A little blue, red, and white. Good. Lighter color now. I'm going in the background. I'm going to create another tree. Ooh, with a little blue tone. Actually sprinkle that. I don't want too much blue, but I'll sprinkle a little of that blue up in this tree like that. Might as well just get started. And then back to my browns. Now I can put some browns on this tree. You know, you don't want it all just blue, but I want this one to be a little lighter. And of course I want it in the distance, so I do it second right now. I gotta go back. It's because I paint out of order. I can't help it, sorry. Just paint out of order. There. That's probably enough. That gets that tree at least established. Actually, wouldn't mind seeing a couple of lighter limbs on this tree. Maybe make that one more blue. Maybe that one's in the background. See, we can lighten some of these up a little, and they tend to go back into the distance that way. That's nice. Give your tree just a little depth that way. Let me see. Okay, that's pretty good. And watch this. You go back with some black and you cover over those ones you did. And then, you know, they kind of push them back. It's nice. But make sure your blue ones they're not the ones overlapping. Cool. That's good right there. We can sort of work with that, I think. Maybe a little trunk right there. All right, and then those are our two trees here on the little grassy hill. We've got some smaller ones to do in the background. We'll do those right now. Take some brown and black, a little green, maybe white, just whatever mess you've got laying around is fine. And right back here, well, that's about the right shade, I'd say. Bring these evergreens up. Good. Don't be afraid to take that finger and blur those lines. You know, we want this to be misty, so see that? Kind of mess it up a little. It looks funny now, but watch this. This may be the wrong brush, but I'm going to start with it. We can change brushes later. Well, it's actually seems all right, but just get a little bit of evergreen tree action. That's nice, but always feathering it. You could make it a little lighter, but I think it's actually okay. I think it works. And the reason I think it works is because, you know, the contrast. Good. It's almost too much color. But anyway, I'm just going to play around with this. This is pretty straightforward. Just get the color you want. Make sure you're softening these little areas. See that? Just touch it and soften it away. And that will fill your forest in very nicely. Nice. One more. This one's got kind of a bend in them, just to add some difference and some character. One very nice thing about acrylic painting is you can get your liner brush out anytime during the painting that you want. It doesn't matter. You can do it at the beginning or the end or in between or all of those. It just doesn't matter at all because it dries. And you can paint right over it, you know, without any fear of this, you know, wet paint mixing, because it's going to be dry in literally a minute or two. So that is one huge advantage. And I don't know, we never really talk about this, but you notice how my acrylic liner and my oil liner look kind of similar? Just in case you didn't know, they're the exact same brush, just change the color. It's the only difference. The reason that I did that though is because I don't want to mix my oil and acrylic brushes. I don't really want the, you know, the oily residue that's left behind in the brushes to get into my acrylic paint. So this lets you very easily keep them separate. That's pretty cool though, isn't it? Look at that. Oh, you don't need to go crazy with the branches because very likely we'll cover a lot of these with our leaves. But it's kind of fun to get a couple of them in, isn't it? Now you got to work it kind of making a nice shape of the tree. I almost came out too far with that one, but it doesn't really matter. It can just be a dead limb. I don't think I'll put my leaves out that far. Now on this side, we got some that are going like this. You have to put a little more water, continually add water because it dries out pretty fast compared to when you're doing this with oil paint. That's getting to where it's starting to look good. The shape's starting to kind of come together a little further out, so you got a nice tree shape. And we'll be using that kind of as a road map. That's the idea. There, just fun, isn't it? Ah, you know what we didn't do? This is kind of sad. Look at what we didn't do. We didn't paint this limb in. It's kind of, oops. Okay, I fixed it. You can do that because it dries. No big deal. There. Nice. Kind of just put a little detail in the trunk. I like those dark cracks. It's going to add something, I think. Now I'm going to push my number 4 bristle brush just straight into the paint. See how, well, it may be hard to see in that. See how it flares it out? All right, that's what the end of the brush looks like. We're going to create the leaves now. This is just step 1. We won't do the whole entire tree like this, but we will do the whole tree like this, but then we'll come back on top of that with other strokes. Hopefully that makes sense. So there we go. We'll just shape our little canopy. Just kind of maybe stand back, you know. I mean, in here is going to be more solid. We can do that a little more solid and get that done a little faster. But I'm more worried about the outside here. I want the outside to be so nice. Oh yeah, that's it. Just get that really nice effect. Spend a little time on this. This is going to be important. This is part of the painting, isn't it? Part of the feature of the painting. There, it's definitely Definitely starting to shape up though, just those few strokes, isn't it? Now remember, we put our hand up there. You know, these clouds back here don't count, right? Because this is why. Now for the most part, this is dry. I mean, some of the limbs may not be. As funny as it is, we're going to move to the background again. I'm going to start, and I've got just a, what is this? Kind of a light, very, very washed out color. A lot of water in it. All right, this looks good. What we're going to do is lighten by dry brush blending. We're going to lighten around this tree now that we know exactly where it is. It's one of the beauties of acrylic. You can pop in and around. You can do this sort of stuff. Glazes, very handy. There, and you don't have to worry about bumping your edges because they're dry. It won't hurt them. See how we can pop that light, I should stand back actually, pop that light color in like that, and it's going to make the tree jump forward. See how it's jumping? Yes, that's exactly what it's doing, it's jumping. Lighten this spot right there. So anyway, just takes another moment or two. Doesn't take all that long. I don't care if I cover up some of my limbs, I can put them back in if I miss them. Otherwise, it was good practice. Hey, take this time right now to lighten these trees if you want to. Mist them out like that. So you can roll that mist right over them. Oop, that's still wet. Nice. See that? Pulling that tree right out from the background by having that contrast. This is a contrast-based painting for sure. So now I'm dropping in a little more leaf action, and I'm trying to preserve my original stuff behind. See that? So kind of leave some of those fuzzy areas. Very nice. Look at the interest that creates. See, I pushed in a couple of little lighter spots. Now we're going to bury those lighter spots in so that they fit. That's good. You don't have to do, I don't even know what color mess that is, a little liner brush stuff left over. It just doesn't matter. Anything's going to match probably pretty well up here. All right, see that? Not covering up everything, just enhancing what's already there. That's important. You wouldn't want to get up here and undo all the hard work you've done up to this point on this tree. But see how a few strokes here and there make a little bit of a difference? Not a huge difference, I mean, but maybe a little difference. Maybe there, kind of bring out a little detail on top. That's kind of nice, I don't know. Of course, the slower you go, the smaller your strokes. Usually the better it looks. A little foundation medium going too as I'm drying out to keep it wet. So just keep adding that in. That's good. All right, just a few more minutes. Same old stuff over and over and over and over. And maybe we won't get too carried away, and we'll stop in just a few minutes. There, I'm just finishing up, kind of adding an accent highlight just with the little micro filbert brush. You can see what a difference, because this cloud is the way it was and now a little brighter. So I'm going to go ahead and add that same accent highlight to this side and pretty much just get this cloud to pop like the other one. All I was doing was just going around the outside edge, kind of a broken silver lining, and then just rubbing it in with my finger. Just adding these little bits. I mean, I know you kind of have to kind of get up on the brush and do these, you know, set my hand down. Just because it's a little tighter, I'm trying, even though I'm painting a little tighter here, I'm trying not to get any symmetry. I'm trying to keep it pretty quick. My hand movement's fairly quick. Keep it loose, because you could so easily fall into just, you know, repetitive, very tight looking cloud. And that isn't exactly what we want today. There. So you can, there wasn't a cloud there. You can kind of use just the sky as your cloud. See that? Little bump. There. And then just continue to work on maybe even the bottom here. And then what I was also doing is adding a little bit back like this to create a little more structure even inside that cloud. Now it's finally time to begin to place some leaves on this tree. I'm going with a fairly dark, let me show you, fairly dark mid-tone, of course using the bristle brush, number 4 bristle brush. And the hardest part about acrylics is that you do not get the natural mixing when it comes to doing stuff like this. You don't get 3 million colors all at once. You know, if this was oil, I put my brush here, you know, this would be one color, this would be another color, this would be a little darker, you know, this one would pick up a little red, you know what I mean? Just depending on what that background was doing. But here, see, each one that I just did as I was doing that explanation is exactly the same. So you have to build these color variations in automatic, or manually rather. It's not automatic, you have to build them in manually in the brush. And you have to change color more often. And that is the secret. As long as you do that though, boy does it come out nice. The advantage to doing acrylics here is that you won't get any mud, you won't have any mixing issues that come along with that. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. At least you avoid the bad stuff too. But that right there is good. I am going to leave a little of this dark on the edges. I'm going to break my rule. It's not that bright. You know, we got a lot of light hitting that cloud. We got some light hitting the trees, but I've got mist as well. And I think that's just, we need to just leave the dark for contrast. Yes. All right, play around with this for a little while. We'll go ahead and highlight though. We'll highlight brighter. This is just the mid-tone we're plunking in right now. Just keep plunking away. That's our new art word for today. A little darker there. I like that. A little blue as well. You can always do a little blue. Now, one of the last things we need to do here is just work on the foreground. There's not much foreground, obviously. There's really not much of anything here. Just grass. We'll get that grass kind of highlighted and get some of these little bushy things highlighted. Of course, I'm using the little soft fan brush. I like that. It does this job pretty nicely. But you can use just about any brush that you'd like. Let's get a little bigger, just a little bigger. Here as we, there's my paint, just a little bigger as we get here into the foreground. See that? Good. And then definitely, don't forget this, this is the important part right here. Definitely work into, you know, the shadows as you come across. I mean, what we got down there is actually pretty nice, so maybe just enhance it a little. There, that's good. You can also come up this way and get a different effect. Even if you're sure it's dry, you can kind of mist it a little bit and then work it up. But again, it's got to be dry, right? Because bad things happen when you mist it and it's wet. You leave little beads of like paint kind of blobs up. I don't even know how to say it, but that's what happens. Hey, it might be good for an ocean scene though. You might be able to use it to your advantage there. Oh, that's pretty. See, just kind of using the corner of that soft fan to flip up these little dark spots. There's more going on in this painting than it seems, isn't there? You know, it seems all very straightforward. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. That's kind of fun, isn't it? So in just a matter of a few minutes, I kind of have a nice little shadow going. Nice highlight and shadow. Good. Maybe wipe that off and just hit it one more time with a little light. Ooh, that's not very bright. We can do better. Yeah. Now the last thing we're going to do here is just finish up with a liner brush on the grass. See that? That creates a nice effect. Just a little foreground detail, not a lot. Sometimes, here's a free tip for you, or trick, whatever you want to call it. Just mist your paint right there, especially like where you know you're going to want your liner brush. And that way you don't have to constantly dip into the water every 5 seconds. You know, just get a big, nice pile, and then just keep misting that pile to keep it wet. It's a really time-saving thing you can do. So that's good. Nice. That water will evaporate so quick if you're not careful. There, that looks great. Just not too much of this. You know, down here it's a little lighter. Maybe we don't want them quite so distinct. Maybe we'll even lighten that color to match. So your dark ones are not quite as dark down on the right side. In fact, we can even do the same trick here. Maybe just my highlight. You don't have to mix up paint when you use the liner brush. Just use what you've got on the palette. you know, and then come in here and that's a little bright for my taste, actually. Pick something else a little darker. There we go. And add in these really pretty final details. All right, well, I think we're done. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Don't forget to check out our website, DVDs, and brush line. Thanks for watching.